Homelessness making headlines. The struggle.
Homeless all around.
The suffering.
It's quite distressing.
And the solution.
Finding ways to move those who are in shelter to permanent housing.
The stories from those who've hit hard times.
It's extraordinarily hard. I was constantly stressing about where I was going to sleep, how I was going to eat.
17 years working, helping people, old folks, and then I was let go because I got hurt.
So how do we help the city's most vulnerable?
We try to address the root causes of homelessness and then help them get on with their lives.
Tonight, a Fox 5 special, Homeless in New York, Crisis on the Streets.
Well, if you haven't noticed, homelessness in New York City is at an all-time high.
And for months, there has been a heated debate over who's to blame. We start our special report with Lisa Evers, who has a look at just how bad the problem is and what solutions are out there. Lisa.
Well, Stephen, Derry, we have all been seeing more and more homeless people on the streets. It alarms New Yorkers and tugs at many hearts. Mayor de Blasio at first denied there was a problem. Now he's offering some solutions, but his approach has ignited a war of words with one of his most outspoken predecessors.
I think he's delusional. If you think about what Rudy Giuliani did as mayor, homelessness went up about 40%.
Here is how ignorant Mayor de Blasio is.
Wow.
He said that there were 40% more homeless people during my administration.
Right.
The Times corrected it and said 32%. But you know what the 32% is? There were 32% more people in shelters. People who are in shelters, I would like to inform the mayor, are not homeless.
Homeless encampments like the ones you see in this exclusive video in Harlem and in the Bronx seem to have popped up throughout the city. Just this week, we found one off the FDR that was also home to street sex workers. In the Bronx, they found a hidden spot near Yankee Stadium. Experts say a perfect storm of higher rents, low apartment availability, and no jobs is contributing not just to street homelessness, but to a much bigger and largely unseen problem of homeless families with small children. There's also a population they call service resistant, many in the encampments.
So we know the drivers to street homelessness include untreated mental illness, substance abuse, people who are very disconnected from communities and from their family members.
The fact is, no one really knows the actual number of street homeless. The number used by city officials and others is the one provided by a federal census taken every January. The January 2015 tally is 3,182.
It's clear that numbers are up on the streets, and so, of course, folks' perception is reality. And so people think that overall the numbers are way up.
Brosnahan says, in fact, it's the opposite for homeless families. It's slowly trending down.
The de Blasio administration actually put into effect some effective rental assistance programs and moved families, this was all for families, into NYCHA housing.
According to DHS Commissioner Gilbert Taylor, 15,000 people have been moved from shelters to permanent housing in the past fiscal year. In a series of reports, we told you the story of Cyprian Noel, a working single dad and his 4 children. They'd been in a shelter for almost 3 years, and after our stories, got their own NYCHA apartment. The homeless issue needs a comprehensive approach, says Taylor.
Deepen our work in prevention, in street outreach, in shelter, and then in housing permanency. Because those 4 core pieces, that's the plan. Each piece will help us to address homelessness in New York City in a way that will reduce homelessness and improve lives.
Now it's homeless individuals who are getting a similar city program. This comes at a time when state funding for supportive housing is dwindling and far below what experts say is needed for those who have mental health and substance abuse issues. And that number this summer has been on the rise.
Typically, the numbers go down for the single adults in the shelters, and this is the first time since we started keeping records in the early 80s that the numbers have just continued to go up and up and up.
An encampment on St. Anne's Avenue in the Bronx that was also a drug den right across from a middle school was cleared out after Mayor de Blasio saw it firsthand. We went back there this week, and access is now closed off with a chain-link fence.
It's great. It's great for the community. I'm happy. I feel blessed today.
125th Street near Park Avenue had a big encampment, a curbside flea market, and a lively K2 street trade going. But the people who stayed there are now gone. This longtime Harlem resident is hoping they're getting help, not handcuffs.
We got to take care of the poor people that's been living out here. They have nowhere to go. It's not right. This is their home.
Police sources tell me individual precinct commanders are now responsible for keeping track of the homeless in their commands. But the de Blasio administration insists it will not return to the practices and approach of the Giuliani era, which kept them on the move and out of sight.
We have decided that we're going to be thoughtful and very strategic in terms of how we approach all street homeless individuals and subway homeless individuals. We're going to use data to inform our work going forward, and we're going to really try to leverage our best resources to help bring unsheltered individuals into shelter.
Just how successful that will be remains to be seen. They are focusing on prevention and have launched a program called Home Base that gives rental assistance to people in danger of getting evicted. You can call 311 for more information. Darian, Steve?
All right, Lisa, thank you. And what's also very disturbing is that homeless vets make up a good portion of the people living on city streets.
All right, often caught up in a difficult transition coming home from combat, Fox 5's Zachary Quiche introduces us to one veteran who is back up after being down and out, and now he's helping others follow his lead.
It's more than 60,000 homeless veterans in the state of New York. Plus, count the ones that are getting ready to come home now.
Behind all the numbers, aside from the debate whether those numbers are up or down or who's at fault, there are real people, like Alan, who's suffering from PTS, post-traumatic stress. At this 3-bedroom house, a safe haven for veterans who have fallen on tough times, it's a typical Tuesday. The work happening isn't glamorous, but it's impactful.
Right now, we're on 97th Avenue in Sutphin at the heart, in the mouth of Jamaica, Queens.
Rodney Moore is one of the success stories. Served in the Army and Coast Guard 20 years.
You're conditioned a certain way of life. So the transition wasn't that difficult. I had to adapt.
But it was tough, and when he lost his job and got tired of sleeping on the streets, he came here. Now he helps run the program. 3 houses in total. There are rules, structure, and support. There are beds for people who need them.
You doing good? Ask him some questions.
Yeah, I'm doing a whole lot better.
Remember, behind the numbers, there are real people. Meet Will Smith.
17 years working, helping people, old folks, and then I was let go because I got hurt.
Veterans in Command, one of the real success stories when it comes to helping former military members transition and, of course, keeping them off the streets. This is a really cool pin and thank you that they hand out to folks who have supported the organization. On the back, a really powerful quote. A veteran is someone who at one point in his or her life wrote a blank check payable to the United States of America for an amount of up to and including my life. It's a quote they take pretty seriously around here.
Nobody gave me a dime. I had to mortgage my house. My wife got mad with me. She said, Larry, why are you doing this? I said, hey, listen, it's just something in me that I have to do.
Larry Robertson, the founder, never served in the military. His parents did, though, and he vowed if he ever could, he'd help.
They just need somebody to help and pick them up and give them another start. That's all they need.
Most stay for around 5 months, develop the right mindset, find work, get help with the savings plan for an apartment of their own, and transition.
Getting their self-esteem, getting their confidence, getting their career growth on track so they can be productive.
Addressing the homeless issue grassroots, one vet at a time. It's more than a house, it's a source of hope. Veterans in Command. The program has only been around for about 3 years, and more than 75 veterans have already gone through the program. The guys that I talk to say, you know, food and shelter obviously is one thing, but to have a space where you can get mail, where you can get a phone call, so you can get some of those resources to get back out on your own feet is priceless.
Of course, everybody wants to be independent.
That's right.
Want to work towards that way.
Absolutely. And you know, the way this works is they're able to reach out to a number of different organizations in the city, make sure that they have their medical, make sure that they can get in some of those job queues so they can really tap in. You know, it's tough to do that when you're on their own.
Yeah, if you don't have a place to get mail, it's hard to get everything else in line.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for bringing that story to us. And we want to welcome you to our Fox 5 family.
I'm happy to be here.
Hello.
I'm happy to be here.
That's
Zachary
right.
Quiche.
That's right. We just tweeted out a link to his Twitter handle. Follow him, ZTKIESCH.
Yes.
Just tell us real quick where you come from.
I come from Washington, D.C.
Right.
Yeah, spent a few years in Washington, D.C., born and raised in Minneapolis, Minnesota. But I've been trying to get up to New York for a long time. So I'm
psyched to have you.
And it is our game.
That's right. That's right.
My game lots of people
My game
for your
Thank you so much. We are very grateful to have you.
Thank you so much.
All right, how about this? Using your smartphone to help track the homeless population.
The new app that lets users upload photos and locations to help track homeless hotspots all over the 5 boroughs.
And it's a difficult topic, but one that children now see almost every day on the streets. Expert advice on how to explain to your kids why some people don't have a home. Welcome back to our special report on the homeless crisis. When it comes to tracking the city's homeless population, technology may end up being the perfect tool.
Well, a local software designer has developed an app, as they say, there's an app for that, aimed at helping the city. Fox 5's Jen Lammers caught up with him to see how it works.
Crowdsourcing the city's homeless problem. That's what Murray Hill resident David Fox is doing with an app he developed called NYC Map the Homeless.
People were posting really compelling pictures of incidents that were happening around the neighborhood. So I wanted to create a way to organize them better and be able to use the data to make more sense of these pictures that were being taken.
With the app, you take a photo of a homeless person and automatically that photo gets uploaded, geotagged, and pinned to a citywide map. According to this one, Midtown and Hell's Kitchen are some of the city's biggest homeless hotspots. You can even use hashtags to describe what it is you're seeing.
A lot of them are aggressive begging. Encampment is one of our biggest ones.
Others can read needs medical aid or violent. To some, snapping pictures like these of homeless people sprawled out in plazas or half-clothed might seem like shaming those who have fallen on hard times. Fox says he intends to put that data to good use by taking that info to the city and to the NYPD. Fox says it's one neighborhood in particular in Kips Bay that made him want to create this app. People who live in this area say the problem of homelessness has gotten downright dangerous and violent, and so they've banded together. Samantha Hurahan runs the Facebook group 3rd and 33rd and Beyond. They say their neighborhood is a snapshot of what's happening all throughout the city.
We've got Bellevue, we've got meth rehab, we've got all different sorts of programs that are meant to help those in need.
But she says oftentimes things don't work out, and that means some of the city's most dangerous homeless find themselves back on the street and in her neighborhood.
There's a lot of violence that occurs, lots of yelling. You want to duck if they throw things at you.
Back in April, a man living at the Bellevue Men's Shelter here on East 30th Street was arrested for sexually assaulting a woman at a Flatiron District bar. Hurahan says she and 2,000 residents here have signed a petition for Governor Cuomo and Mayor de Blasio to do something before someone else gets hurt.
I would like to go up to de Blasio, of course, and say that he has not at all taken care of New York City in any way, shape, or form concerning these people that need help.
From Kips Bay, Jennifer Lammers, Fox 5 News.
Well, the plight of the homeless problem has forced some parents into a difficult discussion with their children.
All right, Lisa Evers explains how mom and dad can approach this very delicate subject.
We are seeing more homeless people on the streets than at any time in recent years.
I think it's terrible. I mean, it's horrible the amount of homeless people there are around in and around New York City.
Some children have grown up in a world where they never saw people, some in obvious distress, on the streets until now, and it can be very upsetting for them.
The question for parents and caregivers is, what exactly do you tell the kids?
You could say that people come from all different backgrounds and people struggle with all different kinds of things, and we want to be very caring and empathic towards these individuals. Let's think about a way together when we get home to see what we can do to help people in need.
There are many reasons why people end up living on the streets. Some feel compelled to give food or money. For adults, it tugs at their hearts, and for kids, it can bring up new fears.
I have 3 kids. I have 3 daughters, and for me, when they see people out in the street, they do ask questions, and I just explain to them how is life, the way they have gone through whatever they've been going through, and hopefully the system should do something and take care of them.
Unfortunately, it's part of the view in Manhattan.
I feel scared. Maybe that could happen to me.
The encounters can be used as important teaching moments as well.
This is a great opportunity for us to be the best kids we can be, and it might be easy to make fun of people. That's the easier way to go. It's much harder to be a good person, to show kindness and compassion and empathy, and I bet you can do it, and I'd love to see that.
No matter what the approach, the experts say the best thing to do is emphasize the value of all human life. On the East Side, I'm Lisa Evers, Fox 5 News.
Well, we've outlined a lot of the problems, so coming up, we're going to look at the solutions.
I just wanted to get away from the pain. And the only way that I knew how to do that was drugs and alcohol.
The organization helping this Navy vet and other homeless people get back on their feet and off the street.
Plus, the building on the Upper West Side that's been transformed to provide a better life for homeless men and women. We'll be right back. Continue now with our special report on New York's homeless crisis. While the city is struggling with this problem, there are some nonprofit groups that are coming up with unique solutions, and they are getting results.
All right, Linda Schmidt takes us to the Cluster House on the Upper West Side, where people can get a fresh start and a life off the streets.
This is like a safe haven to me.
Michelle Bryant is bipolar and suffers from depression. She is also a former crack addict and had lived on the streets and in and out of shelters for years. But now her life has changed dramatically. She is living in a studio apartment with her own kitchen and private bathroom.
When you're in a shelter, you don't get your own bathroom. So as a woman, what is this like for you to finally have your own bathroom?
What is it like for me? It's a blessing. It's a different thing from like being out in the street, and then when you come in here, it's like, oh my God, you're in heaven.
The Upper West Side building where Michelle lives is run by the nonprofit group Urban Pathways. For 40 years, the organization has provided services and housing for homeless women and men who are mentally ill. Through donations, state and federal funding, the building recently underwent a $13 million renovation. Now there are 52 fully furnished studio apartments, computer labs and occupational workshops, a cafeteria, courtyard, and a part-time psychiatrist on site to monitor and adjust the residents' medications.
Just having a home of your own, right, in a safe environment with nice colors, sort of gives you a personal dignity. Right, gives you a sense of self-worth.
Now, on average, these folks live here for 2 years before they're able to move out on their own and take care of themselves. John Burnett suffers from severe depression.
I was heavy on the alcohol and the drugs, and I didn't see no way out.
How has this made a difference in your life?
By giving me my own independence. Urban Pathways lifted me up and opened up new doors for me.
And, he says, a new life. On the Upper West Side, Linda Schmidt, Fox 5 News.
And the Jericho Project is another organization in town offering the homeless hope and dignity.
Let's get to Liz Dahlem, who shows us how they're helping a former veteran get the support that she has long needed.
It's hard. It's extraordinarily hard, you know, because I was constantly stressing about where I was going to sleep that night, how I was going to eat.
Lisa Spencer knows what it's like to live on the streets. She was homeless for years. In an effort to find structure, she joined the Navy. After serving her time, she moved back to New York. But not long after, her mother died. Her passing was too much to bear. Lisa found herself back on the streets, struggling with anxiety, depression, and substance abuse.
I was angry at a lot of stuff. I was angry at the death of my mom. I was angry I got hurt on active duty. I just was so angry and confused, and I just wanted to get away from the pain. And the only way that I knew how to do that was drugs and alcohol.
A rough night led to a cocaine binge, which landed Lisa in the hospital. She decided it was time for rehab and learned about the Jericho Project. Tori Lyon is the executive director.
It's the supportive housing model, and it's a very simple idea that a lot of homeless people aren't just homeless because they don't have a place to live, that there's reasons that they became homeless. And what we do here is we try to address the root causes of homelessness and then help them get on with their lives, so that they may be dealing with a trauma or a substance abuse disorder, but that's not who they are.
Lisa lives in the Fordham Village Veterans Residence in the Bronx, home to 56 homeless and lower-income vets. Residents pay 30% of their income and have their own studio apartments.
We give them their own apartment so they can close the door and lock it, and they have their own key, and they can come and go as they please.
But this is much more than a place to live. What happens here?
This is where we have our on-site staff that serve all the veterans. We have social workers, we have a career counselor, a veteran mentor. So any need that a veteran has, we can help them address. And if we can't address it here, we have referral sources. So this is really the heart of the building. It's where all the services happen, where we help people get their lives back.
It's here Lisa got to the root of her struggles.
They have a staff on duty. I have a case manager that I can talk to, you know, and even if I can't talk to him, I know I can grab somebody else. This one are the drafts.
Now Lisa is going to college to become a substance abuse counselor and creating a new life for herself.
This is something that me and my mom used to do when I was a teenager, because I used to play basketball when I was in school. So when I wasn't on the courts, me and my mom would do arts and crafts like this and stuff. So
this makes you feel...
I really feel connected to her and everything when I do this, because I have good memories of her, me doing artwork, and just, I love it.
The Jericho Project has been around for 30 years and continues to do great work. The nonprofit just broke ground on its 8th supportive housing residence in the Bronx, which will also help veterans and homeless LGBT young adults.
We really do work with people to help them get jobs and have careers so that one day they won't need this housing anymore and they can move out on their own.
A long-term solution to a growing problem, helping people get a second chance.
Jericho has helped me out. And it's gave me that stepping stone to pick myself up and do what I need to do.
Liz Dahlem, Fox 5 News.
Well, as you can see, this is truly a complex and emotional issue. So we're going to be staying on top of the homeless crisis as our commitment to the community and as the city continues to figure out ways to solve the problem.
All right, if you'd like to see more of the stories from our special, we'll post the whole thing on our website, fox5ny.com. We've also posted more information about city programs there as well.